TitleMatchNetwork.com.
What are your thoughts of Ole Anderson as a booker?
Ole as a booker? Man, I'll tell you what. I'll say first, Ole and Gene, man, when I was a young guy coming up in this business, and wow, get a chance to work with those guys. There was nothing like it. I mean, there was nothing like that. To me, greatest tag team that time ever lived. I don't know about today. Maybe today, maybe the greatest one that ever lived. They had that timing. They had everything together. Ole as a booker, you know, you're asking a guy who booked for 15 to 20 years himself. I always thought it was better, but I don't think Ole was the best booker that I ever worked for, but he certainly got his job done, and he he worked for some good people handling the book. Ole, boy, he was a funny type of guy. Ole and I again had some stuff going on between us. And Ole one time, the old deal, you tell the guy shoot you in the ropes, you're gonna come off and give him a boot. Go for a backdrop, and then you're gonna give him a backdrop, and instead I'm gonna give you the kick. And that's always, you just leave that chest open and you just put that boot bang right up in a good hard slap up under there, and and then he takes over, get up that heat and stuff. And so I'm working in Macon, Georgia with him and Gene, just a young guy, and he said, shoot me in backdrop and I'll give you that boot, and you could stiff, but that's the way guys work that were smart. They want to be a little bit stiff, make it look good. And I shoot that dadgum Ole in, and he kicks me in the mouth and takes the skin off my bottom lip from like the edge to the middle, just a hump. Not a way you can sew it up, just a top layer of skin there, pretty good. Ripped my bottom lip off, what it amount to with the laces on his boot. Kicked me like you'd kick in the chest with that bang, good hard kick, but right there, boy, and it just ripped stuff off. A few things like that. I always wondered, you can make a mistake, things can be a little bit off, but I always wondered, was that a mistake? Things like that. Ole, I'm not sure that Ole wasn't just a tough guy that just from time to time took it on himself to do some things like that. Oh, anyway, I had that with him, and then when I worked with Ole as a booker, when he was booking, I really never thought that I got the proper respect that I should have gotten, and so I didn't really see him as being one of the best bookers I ever worked for. But as far as being with him and Gene, wrestling in the ring, maybe the best tag team that I ever remember working for. Oh boy, Mr. Wrestling too. We're talking about old Johnny Walker there, and Johnny, one of the toughest guys that ever worked in this business. Great friend of my father. Because he was a great friend of my father, he wouldn't beat me up. But I had a few run-ins with Johnny too, because I thought a lot of times that he was much more concerned with himself and how he got over. I did tag team matches with him and different things, and I would sell and tag him. And then, then he'd make a big comeback, and then he'd either win the match or they would somehow beat me. And, and there was times in which Johnny would do things like after they beat me, instead of coming to me to my aid to say, oh, kid, you're really hurt, and show me some sympathy, he would beat the hell out of the other two guys and the stuff and the thing and chase them back to the dressing room and come back and tell them, come on back, get back in the ring and all this stuff. And then one time in particular, that exact thing happened, and Johnny came over to me and he said, after he had done his big skit and everything, and I'm there selling, the ring's bouncing up and down, and I'm dead there, and everything. And I say, and I'm mad about it, because I'm saying, first things first, you fight them to get them off of me, and then they leave. You don't chase them to the dressing room, and you don't come back then and say, come on back, I want to beat you up. as soon as they leave the ring, you turn right around and you say, "Oh, the kid," and you come and see, and we do our little deal together. So on this one particular time I'm talking about, Johnny had done that, and he came to me and said, doing his stuff over the top of me, and I look up at him with a real sympathetic face, and I say, "Oh, you care?" And boy, flames fly out of his eyes. He says, "You ungrateful, that gum little punk, you." And so, I'm like, well, who cares what you think? You absolutely off the ball here. I'm totally credited with what I'm telling you. I'm absolutely right. You know it, and I know it. We go back in the dressing room, and boy, and Johnny comes in there. I'm in the shower, and he says, "I'm gonna tell you something, boy." And he could hand me my butt too, probably. And he said, "You know what?" He said, it had been 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, I'd have really beat you up out there. And I said, "Well, so much for so much." And I said, "Still, I'm right." The deal that Johnny, he's a great guy. He's a great guy, but very serious about his character and his business. And he was one of these guys that, as a babyface, knew how to take care of himself. I mean, he wasn't going to worry so much about how I was looking or anything as to how he looked. He took care of himself, and man, did he get over. And out of that ring, again, boy, I mean, he was like a second father, and his wife Olivia and my mother, best friends, and she just treated me like a son. And Johnny was just a great guy. You asked me about somebody else.
The Garvins.
Yeah, the Garvins. The Garvins, Terry Garvin, he had that homosexual character, best in the business it ever was about it. The only guy that ever recognized that and did it right was Jerry Jarrett. He got that pink mat, and they changed the mat, put down the paint for him, and had him do the Gorgeous George thing. They really got the best out of Terry Garvin. Ronnie Garvin, on the other hand, what a sick pup, man. He was, and Ronnie and I, Ronnie's a young looking guy, even today, but Ronnie's like 10 years older than me, but you would never know it. If you looked, you'd say, "Gosh, me and Ronnie were the same age." And me and Ronnie, we had some problems, and I had to work with him an awful lot. As a young guy, totally listened to everything that he said. And what a ringmaster, boy. I just said, I ain't going to do a thing that Ronnie don't tell me, because if I follow Ronnie's lead, we are going to tear this house down. No question about it. As I got a little older in the business and started getting a little more, I know my stuff, and a little more cocky about what I do and everything, that Ronnie and I didn't get along as well. Ronnie was like, "Hey, follow me. Like I say, it'll always be good. It's always going to turn out good." And I always thought, well, I follow you. Maybe you're going to take a little more than maybe you ought to, and maybe we should do a little bit more stuff that I want to do. And so then Ronnie got a little hard feelings about me, and we had some problems in the ring from time to time, even to the point of shooting. And Ronnie's one of the few people that I had to go with. I just had to go with my feelings where Ronnie was concerned, and we had some trouble a couple of times. Today, looking back on Ronnie Garvin, boy, gosh, love him like a brother, man. But I thought back in the days of Atlanta when I was working for Jim Barnett and stuff, Jim trying to give me a push, and I'd get a match with Ronnie Garvin, and I went, whoa, that is scary, because that ain't a push. Because Ronnie had that little chip up here, and he went, "Hey, kid, you're going to do what I say." I said, "Well, maybe not." He's like, "Well, we're going to see." I said, "Well, we're going to see, aren't we?" We go in the ring with that. That's we might have done a little better when I was a young boy listening to him. But Ronnie He's a great guy and absolutely terrific performer in the ring. And I miss him today.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.